If you look really carefully, let's everyone zoom in. If you look really carefully, there's something in there, isn't there? If you look really, really carefully, those little bugs love that ethyl mercaptan smell. That is a crack in the heat exchanger. Very dangerous because now you have this CO combustion mixing in with your room air.
Thanks everybody for joining us. Looking forward to today's meeting. We get to see real world pictures from the field. And I think that Darren might even have a tech card ready to show everybody. We're going to release it
He
first here on
does.
Patreon, and then we'll put it out there for everybody else. Today we'll kind of give you some pictures and examples and talk through what some of those fails look like in the field. And so Darren, I think you've got some pictures queued up. Is that right?
I do. Um, so we could start with that and let me share my screen. So yeah, I just grabbed a couple pictures from years gone by and just as discussion points regarding furnaces. What I wanted to share with this one is in the Suburbans we talk about the color dots for their high temperature switches, and so there is a blue dot. Okay, but the other thing, and so they have blues, greens, reds, oranges, and purples, and they all have to do with their temperature rating. Wait till we get to the tech card. But another thing I like about this picture is you could tell a lot about this furnace from that serial number and the model number. So what this tells us is that it's a Suburban SFs, which means short furnace, SF. 42 is 42,000. F means gas is connected on the in the RV side, and Q means it's got the DSI motor control built into the DSI board. It does not have that fan relay. So if you have a Suburban furnace that does not have a Q, it's going to have a fan relay on it. If it does have a Q, no fan relay, that's all integrated into the board. So when I'm asking a customer for their serial number, model number, and it's a Suburban, I'm going to see if it's got that Q on it. If it's got the Q, I don't need to bring a relay with me. If it does not have a Q, it might be good for me to have a fan relay. The other thing we can tell is the serial number down here on a Suburban. The first two digits are the year of manufacture, and then the next two digits are the week. So the seventh week of 2016. So from all of this, we can get an idea on that furnace, can't we? Yay. Okay, moving on. The next thing is we need to look at that orifice. This one's got a 49. Some of them have a 50, some 51. Your main sticker on your furnace is going to tell you what size orifice you need for LP and natural gas. The furnace can run either LP or natural gas, and it all has to do with the size of that orifice there. So it's rare, but I have come across furnaces that are set for natural gas and they're in an RV. And all we had to do is change out that. What's wrong with this one? This furnace is basically starving for air to do anything, and I have three pictures of that. So we do these every year. This is part of the annual service, is just to clean all that out. Yeah, that's pretty bad. This one, if you look right here, that is a crack in the heat exchanger right there. Okay, so I've mentioned about finding cracks in heat exchangers. That is a crack in the heat exchanger. Very dangerous because now you have this CO combustion mixing in with your room air. And where that is, if we zoom out, that was down inside on the Suburban. You take this cover off and it was down inside of here where there was a crack. So when I'm doing my annual service, I'm taking that apart. I'm looking for cracks. And this one, sure enough, it had it. So that means that the whole furnace, yes, you can replace just the heat exchanger. You might have some enterprising shop that can weld that, but just replace the furnace. It's fatigued. I mean, this guy's old. Now, if you look really carefully, let's everyone zoom in. If you look really carefully, there's something in there, isn't there? If you look really, really carefully. Okay, so let's see what's in there. So, oh, you take the orifice off. Here we have a whole family of little bugs that lived in there. Okay, that's not really that uncommon. So always look for that kind of stuff. Those little bugs love that ethyl mercaptan smell. And then here they are again. And here they are again. Here they are again. This one I picked just because it shows an older style. This is the relay we're talking about. This is so if this was a Suburban, then this part number would not have a Q in the part number. Q would mean quick. Quick means that the fan is controlled from the DSI board. If it has a Q, it's not going to have this relay. It's good to stock one of these relays. The dinosaur relays, You do need to be careful of hooking up the coil voltage correctly on it. The coil direction, like one's going to be ground, one's going to be call for heat or T-stat, as I think what they call it. Make sure you hook those up correctly or you will burn up your $50 dinosaur relay. And then here would be a sail switch. I'm a fan of this because the sail switch body, where all the crap gets inside, is external to the blower wheel. Why manufacturers take this entire assembly and stick it inside of this is ridiculous. That's why they fail. We have a much better success when they're sticking outside. The long arm goes deep inside of this thing. But here we also see no discoloration on our pins here, so this one's good. It's not getting filled with crap, therefore it's not getting overheated, therefore it's happy. Here we have another burner that's all melted. I've got a few pictures of this. It's not uncommon to come across this or to come across them that are cracked. Here, if you look inside, you can see that this one's cracked a little bit. So on these older furnaces, this is not unusual to have cracks in here. And then what you will find is the furnace will ignite and extinguish, ignite, extinguish, or have a howling sound. Here we have another crack in the heat exchanger. Not unusual. And I always seem to find it right at this turn. So it's right at this turn. I got another picture of it here, so you can kind of get your lay of the land. Where the burner is back over here, and it's making this first right-hand turn, and that seems to be the sweet spot where they crack. So these are the things you catch on your annual services. This one, while the electrodes might look very similar, they're different links. The technician that worked on this prior to us working on it, they had installed the wrong electrode, even though they're dual sense. One's the igniter, one's the flame rectifier, and the one in the middle is the ground. They had put the wrong one on. Therefore, the sweet spot where the flame needs to be here. And if it's here, you're sensing it in the wrong location. I'll camp out on this one for a second. If you know what you're looking for, you see something wrong here. So let me show you what's wrong here. So what we see here, this was not unlike the furnace I worked on today. So what we want is this 1/8 of an inch gap between all that. I want an 1/8 of an inch, and I just take an Allen key and put yellow paint pen on my 1/8 of an inch Allen key. Therefore I know it's for my gapping, like a spark plug. So I want an 1/8 of an inch here. I want an 1/8 of an inch here. Now, between the electrode and the flame spreader, I want 1/4 of an inch. Okay, I can tell you right now, the distance between the electrode sticking out straight and this flame spreader is greater than 1/4 inch. It might be either a 1/2 or 3/4 of an inch. So the furnace I worked on today, at least he told me about 2 others, but it's been going on for so long. There might be 3 other technicians that came out and worked on this gentleman's furnace, and it wasn't unlike this one here. They never could figure it out. They put on a new flame spreader on this obsolete furnace. Therefore, the angle was bent greater. They put on a new motor. They put on a new sail switch. But they didn't understand how flame rectification works, and they didn't understand spec that I want an 1/8 of an inch here, and I want 1/4 inch from the electrode to the flame spreader. On his, it was greater than a 1/2 of an inch. So when we started the furnace, it would ignite, but the ticking, the tick, 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 the ticky tick sound stayed constant. When the furnace ignites, that ticky tick sound should extinguish immediately, but this one stayed ticking. Therefore, I know that it's a flame. I hear the flame. It's putting out heat, but the board does not detect the flame. Why? Because the thing was 1/2 of an inch away from the flame spreader, and it wanted to be 1/4 inch. So it was outside of the flame. Therefore, it can't ionize itself properly. Therefore, the board never got the message. For the end, I've got some electrodes. When they're corroded like this, the furnace is running either too rich or too lean. So check you might even have some propane with some contamination in it. So make sure your propane is nice and just propane with no air, no water, no moisture, just pure propane. Gets into purging of tanks. This last one you could see here, that's supposed to be squared off, and it's kind of like a pointy thing. So those are some things you're looking for when you're doing your annual service. And that finishes my slideshow.